Welcome back, everyone. Marvin Jackson here on the Sideline Report with Barry Barnes, Lou Holder, and Donna Hopkins. And we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming games with Washington going against Seattle. Then they have the Giants and the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and then the Dolphins. So it's going to be rough because you got those interdivision games, and then you have the Dolphins coming up, and they're still a good team also. So it's going to be a rough road for Washington. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the Ravens have ahead, because it's going to be difficult for them too. Just in their division, it's tough. So I guess, Donna, you want to start off by talking about what the keys are in Seattle?
Yeah, I think the fast start again. And, I'm still disappointed in the defense because I think the defense is still struggling. You look at this team and you say, hey, the defense is supposed to be the strength. But what is the most surprising on the defense is the secondary, because, they have a lot of miscues, and that linebacker play has to be much better because Geno Smith is a better quarterback than Jones was in New England. And so this defense has to be able to, contain that side of the ball. As far as Seattle, the linebacker play, when you look at that New England game, that 64-yard run by Stevenson, it was because Jamin Davis was his angle and not in position. And, they can't afford those kind of let-ups and everything. And like I said, Martin had that big interception at the end to save the day, but they were looking to go down there to possibly win that game or tie that game up. And I think that this defense has to play better going up to Seattle, because the offense to me is doing enough in games, to win and to contribute. But I think it comes down to that defensive side of the ball that they've got to play much better. And then Jack Del Rio has to do much better putting those guys in position. The younger guys, to me, they're hungry right now on that defensive side of the ball. But game 2, let's see how it shapes up for them, because John Allen said that the key thing was he was glad that this game wasn't too big and the moment was too big for those young guys because they came out and played.
Yeah, Lou?
I'll say this. First off, shout outs to former Washington Redskin Antonio Pierce for getting a shot to coach the Raiders. And the reason why I say that, Marvin, is that Donna said it. I'm still not sold on the whole Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio. We said in the other segment that we found ourselves a quarterback. We need to find ourselves who's going to be the coach going forward, right? And just like the Raiders just pulled the whole thing off and started with somebody, I would really like to see Eric Bieniemy get a shot at this whole thing. Now, with that being said, I do think this is a winnable game against Seattle. I think that it coming down to the last play and some other things, that kind of scares me. But this team can beat Seattle. Because Seattle just got destroyed by the Ravens. They can beat the Giants, who just got destroyed by the Raiders, who were in disarray. They can go into that Dallas game over 500. And the thing is, anything can happen. You're not going to catch Philly, but Dallas isn't playing lights out, right? So there's always a chance in our division. But there's something about it that I just want to see a whole new leader of men in there, because the whole Jack Del Rio and the whole Ron Rivera, I don't know if I'm able to stomach it for all these games until they get to Miami, until they get to that stuff. I think that now is be a good time to make a change in these next couple of games, but that's just me.
Hey, Lou, but the thing, too, when you look at that defense is Jack Del Rio has a squad of talent on that side of the ball, too.
Yes.
And when you look at last year where they were ranked 10, on defense, and they've fallen off, they're dragging the bottom of the barrel right now in so many areas. So you can't wrap your head around, why is this defense not performing better than what they are? And this was before Chase and Sweat was gone, is that the talent on defense, why are they not playing better? And I know they said players play, coaches coach. Don't give me that. Yeah, come on. That's some coaching.
Again, Marvin, I hate to be a downer after a win, but I'm looking long-term, and I'm like, you know what? What the Raiders did bringing Antonio Pierce in there, and then their star players were saying, we'll run through a wall for
Yeah,
that guy, right?
that was
So you can
bold.
see
That was a bold move.
you can see
They
body
fired
language.
everybody.
You
They
can
fired
see you can see
everybody in for
you
the
can see
Ravens.
body language. You can see things happening. And Donna, you were there. I don't know if the same body language, with this young quarterback and stuff like that. I think it's time to see who else, because at the end of the day, does anybody on this panel think that Ron Rivera is going to be the coach of this team next year?
I don't think so.
Anybody?
Well,
Hey,
I don't see Ron Rivera being there after this season. Just like I don't see Washington beating Seattle this time.
all
The
right.
reason why, yeah, and then the reason why I say that, because you can't look at what happened in Baltimore last week with the Seahawks, because the Ravens and the Commanders are two different teams. The Ravens know who they are for 4 quarters. Washington, they only know who they are after midway through the second quarter. And then when they get into the second half, that's when you see they trying to scramble to see what will work on the field. So they're not as efficient in the second half like the Ravens squad is. So that's the reason why I do not see them beating Seattle on Sunday, because they still have to work through that. And like I said, they have to figure out a way of not putting themselves in situations where they have to have third and long situations. And just like what Donna said as far as the defense, their biggest lack is that they have a hard time getting to the quarterback. They're one of the highest blitzing teams in the league, but for some reason, they're not getting to the quarterback. And they have to find some way creative enough to get to the quarterback to help their secondary out. If they can't get to the quarterback, you'll still see those pockets, those big holes, those gaps. And when you have receivers like what they have in Seattle, they will find those holes and they'll take advantage of it. And because of that, I don't see them being successful in Seattle. They will play hard. I will never take that away from the Washington Commanders. They will play hard, but they have to find a way to get to the quarterback. And right now, they have not shown consistency this year in doing so.
I think the Ravens had a really good running game going against Seattle, and I'm not sure if Washington's going to put that much attention into their running game. As you were saying earlier, Barry, Washington seems to throw a lot more than most of the teams. And it would be great if they would run a lot more if they want to beat Seattle, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And
you have to be balanced.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
speaking of balance, I think the Ravens are probably the most balanced football team in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Would you say that, Barry?
Like Marvin said, that the Ravens ended up having that 138 yards from Mitchell. And this was a guy that was undrafted, only 5'8", from Eastern Carolina. But also when you look at the Ravens, Lamar Jackson didn't have a great game. It was 187 yards passing, but it's the defense. That defense has, I think, got a lead high 31 sacks entering that game, and they ended up with 4 more. But Barry, I take it back. I mean, I know that you're saying that you don't see the Washington Commanders winning this game up to Seattle, but the thing about it is, if this team shows up like they have in some other games where of the Philadelphia, because they've got the tools to beat a Seattle, you're giving Seattle too much credit, because the Ravens exposed them some also in that game. So Seattle is not as great as people think they are. They have hiccups too, where one week they're playing great and one week they're not. So I think if this Commanders could put all the pieces together like they did and play hard like they did in Philadelphia, those 2 games, this Commanders team on the road can take that game, but they've got to play solid ball for 4 quarters.
Right. 2 things about that that's wrong is that when you go against the Eagles, that's a divisional game. That's familiarity there. So you can cancel that part out because it's totally
different. They played Seattle before too, Barry. Some of those same players are there. And
number 2, when you're dealing with Seattle with Washington, you can't use what happened with how the Ravens had treated Seattle, because Washington is not built like the Ravens. They're not going to go up there and have that same. They can't say the Ravens exposed them, because in order to expose a team, you have to have the talent to continue with that. And Washington is not a team to follow behind that to do what they can do.
Barry, they got a running game too. They got a running game too now. They may not have Lamar Jackson, but they've got the weapons too that they can contend, just like the Ravens did with Seattle.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use. They don't know how to use those weapons. It's 2 different things, because the Ravens know how to use the talent they have. Washington does not. That's why they cannot use the Ravens as an example.
But the difference is a young quarterback versus a veteran quarterback. That's the difference between the 2 teams.
Well, one
Right,
thing
but the
about
talent
the
they don't
Seattle
have.
Seahawks, though, they are going to be at home this time. See, last time they had
Right,
come out east, so it was tough for
right.
them
And
when they
young
played
players
the
play better
Ravens.
at
But
home.
they'll be at
Right,
home.
I'm still thinking the
right,
Commanders
right.
play better on the road, though.
Yeah,
It's not
they
gonna
do.
happen though.
Help me out,
Don't
Lou.
make
Help
them.
me out, Lou.
They ain't gonna do it. They ain't gonna do it. Don't hold your breath on
I just think Barry and Donna just need to fight.
Bring out the boxing gloves. Well, look, let me say what Lou said.
it.
I want to congratulate Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce, man,
Because
congratulations.
Yes.
The main
Very
reason is
good.
because he used to be on the sideline report all the time.
Absolutely.
All right, we're here with two of the baddest defensive players on the Redskin team. Antonio Pierce, middle linebacker, Ryan Clark, safety.
He's an alumni of the sideline
He used to
report.
be on the sideline
Alumni.
report all the time. So that's our good friend.
I'm so happy
Really
for
happy
him.
I am.
Yes,
I
am.
really am.
All right, well, I am happy to have you guys on today. I'd like to thank Shaylin Moore. She was awesome. And, of course, Barry Bad News Barnes, Donna Hopkins, and Lou Holder. So for the rest of the Sideline Report team, I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time on the Sideline.